Hey, welcome to the Closing Beat, everybody. Happy Tuesday. How we doing out there? This is a quick stock market update show that we do to, cover the stock market, let you know how things go. We're financial advisors here at Jazz Wealth. Hope you'll check us out at jazzwealth.com. We are actually about to stop taking new customers. We're really close to that. So if you've been thinking about joining us or something, and we show that we're closed at some point, sorry. We're kind of looking to take a little bit of a break. But for the rest of you that like the show and like to hang out with us here, then we'll be doing this every day. Tomorrow, we're going to try something different. We are going to start with the Q&A. So we'll fire everything up. We'll take what questions you have, see what we can address, and we'll go into the markets and cover all the good stuff like we normally do. We're also going to be moving towards more lessons. It occurs to me that people know a lot about maybe 12 stocks that are out there, the real popular ones, but you maybe know less about some of the other 4,000 plus stocks that are out there. So I'll be sharing more details about the individual stocks. We're going to move towards more lessons and education and stuff in here because it's important, right? The more you know, right? It's, what was that? Some sort of commercial, the more you know. So we'll be doing that. Also, our new dojo is live, and I want to just share one thing here with you. Here's the portal. If you're one of our customers, you log in. This is all 100% custom to us. One thing I want to show is the performance here. So when you're looking at your performance, it defaults to all of your accounts. This is one of our sample accounts here, but if you happen to have numerous accounts, you'll just click on this drop-down menu and select one of your accounts, and the performance will change to that. Some of the windows here will change as well, so you can actually zoom in and see specifically what's going on, like in terms of your dividends that you got paid for a particular account, your deposits, your performance. If you want to zoom back and take a look at a couple different things, you can do that on the individual account level. If you go back to all accounts, if you happen to have more accounts, you'll see the performance of everything in there. And there's even been some updates as of today. If you log into your dojo here in just a few minutes, you will see a new update which we're sharing the different upgrades and things that we do as we launch them, because we're just going nonstop here to fix, obviously, everything that we want to fix, but add in all the features that we have for you. So we got a number of different changes you'll be able to see on there and get descriptions of each one. And also, we hear you loud and clear. The next feature we release is going to be linking accounts. So if you want to link a spouse account or something like that, that will be in there as well. Our number one most requested feature there. So that's that. That's all I wanted to share there. I won't make that the marketing thing or anything because we got the stock market to talk about today. You got a small gain on the day, and I posted it that it was just kind of a blah day, right? If there was no show today, you wouldn't care, although I've got some really good stuff to share with you. The markets didn't do a whole lot. And I'll tell you one thing real quick. You know what besides can we link our accounts in the dojo, the number one question I've been asked over the last day and let's call it 6 hours or so is actually quite interesting. You know that we have just about 4,000 customers as a whole here, and I got an unbelievable amount of emails from people saying, hey, Dustin, what's going on with Twitter, Facebook, Apple, Google, Amazon, and all of them with the suppression of free speech and all that. Can I just sell all those positions? I don't want anything to do with them. So, yes, I kid you not, right? The last 24 hours has been nonstop. Just people going, get me out. I don't care. Let's invest in other stuff, which, there's any advisor you work with has to ask you when you open an account, is there anything we should avoid? Do you feel passionately about certain stocks? Are you maybe religious and you can't invest in certain stocks? And so it occurs to me that that's probably something we're going to have to add. Should we avoid some of these social dilemma stocks, I guess, if that sort of thing continues? But I kid you not, no short of 300 people asking if they could make that change. So, boy, there's some passionate people out there. It doesn't matter if I agree or disagree. It's what you don't want to invest in. And as an advisor, we have to make it work in other ways for you. So I just thought that was kind of fascinating. Let's talk about the stock market here today because I don't want to get you guys all fired up. I know how that works in the chat section there. Once it gets you fired up, that's the end of it. Let's look. We'll start here with the Russell 2000s. Again, your leader here today. If you're not familiar with the Russell 2000 or small caps, you better get familiar with them because they are just killing it here lately. It's our number one best performing fund out of our groups here. This was the leader again today. It's up now 7.6% year to date. Just to give you an idea, its 40-year annualized average return is 9.85%. So in almost, 12 calendar days, we've almost achieved what it normally averages in an entire year. So an incredible run there for the Russell 2000. I'll tell you, it's kind of the same names. Plug Power continuing with its big investment the other day. Another 22% gain on the day. Very, very extended there. You had Fuel Cell also participating in that magic as well, up 20% on the day. Penn National, for those of you that like that stock, up over $100, added another 0.5% today. The Penn National and Plug Power were the biggest contributors in the Russell 2000 today. If you look at the Dow, you got the Dow. Goldman Sachs was your big bank leader today, one of the big leaders of the not only the Dow, but the financials. Goldman Sachs clearly outperforming in the short term. You also got Home Depot waking up out of this most recent sort of downtrend that it's been in. Those names starting to wake up again. Lowe's as well. On the downside, you got Visa, one of the drags today, back to the 50-day moving average. I think they got rid of their deal. They were going to buy out Plaid, and that deal fell through. So Plaid gets to remain independent as of now, or maybe somebody else will scoop them up. Also, you had Disney pulling back there just a little bit there. Interesting, if you're in Florida, is a good 2-day Florida resident special if you want to go check those out. I don't know if you like Disney or anything. Cody, you want to take advantage of that?
I'm sorry, I'm listening here again.
2-day?
If you want.
We go to Disney, 2-day park pass, special Florida resident.
No, I'm good. Thank you, though.
No, next time. Okay, so no problem. NASDAQ. Flat year to date, still hovering at highs. That's not a bad thing, just hasn't got much done today. Facebook continues to be weak. That's that social dilemma thing we were just talking about. Down 2.25%, back to the 200-day moving average, which is where I mentioned before, if it would happen to pull back there, that might be an interesting area in that 250 range, which we're basically there right now. You also had Microsoft weigh in a little bit, down 1%. You got Google as well, small loss, 1% on the day. These were your bigger drags inside of the NASDAQ. Tesla and semis are the focus areas, just like yesterday. Tesla up another 4%, $38, knocking doors, or trying to knock on the door of $900. If you look in the semiconductor space, it also made new highs as a little industry there. Lam Research is one of the stocks that hit new 52-week highs on the day, looking good there. Intel even got in the mix today, participating, getting back to the 200-day moving average. Hasn't been there in a while, so something to look at there. And Applied Materials is one of the stronger ones, like Lam Research, in the semiconductor space. That definitely helping out the NASDAQ today. And lastly, you got the S&P with just a tiny little gain on the day. It's up 1.5% year to date. Really feels undecided here. If you're looking at the S&P, yeah, we had a little rally, I get it, but the last few days have felt undecided. It's very normal here with earnings coming up. You know, the big earnings releases are about to come out here, and here are the lists of them through the rest of the week. You got KB Homes reported after hours here, and interestingly enough, beat on earnings. They didn't beat on revenue. Guidance was good, and it's pretty much gapping. I mean, as of now, it's gapping up right about at the average there, pulled back a little, I think. And so that one looking pretty much right on stats there. But as you look through the rest of the week, you've got the banks. That's the focus here. You got airlines in there as well, but you got Citigroup, JP Morgan, PNC, Schwab, and Wells Fargo all reporting by the end of the week. So something to keep in mind if you're looking at that. It's earnings season. There's going to be a lot of them. And Friday, our FinTips video, I'm going to cover earnings stats for the next week. So we'll go through and take a look at all of those. Yesterday, we did selling a rental property, just a case study there, just real quick, just to kind of go through something that was in my head to kind of see if that made sense for someone. Should you sell the rental property or use the income in retirement? Does it make a difference? Tomorrow, we're going to cover beneficiaries. You know, it's a sad one there, but, you know, it lost a lot of people last year. So make sure you have your beneficiaries in order. We'll go over what that means and just kind of give an overview of that. Last week, our Wine and Wealth class was an IRA to HSA trick that you can use, a little tax avoidance kind of a legal thing there. So we went over that. This week, we're going to cover the Dojo, and we're going to go into performance, and we'll try to do it like inside the Dojo. I'll try to play around with some different things there while showing off some of the features and making it a little bit of a tutorial with some education at the same time there. Okay, we talked about lessons. Let's do some lessons here with the sector breakdown. We're going to start with healthcare. So healthcare, you have the, right now what's going on, you've got the JP Morgan Annual Healthcare Conference. It's a time of year where healthcare stocks tend to wake up a little bit because they're promoting the best of the best at this conference. Everybody goes to it, so you got a lot of news coming out. We did a study to look back and see how often does the healthcare sector actually perform well during the conference there. And if I just make this a little more visible to you, it's all right. Average performance of the healthcare sector during the conference, which is going on now, is positive. Median performance positive by 0.8%. It's almost positive every single year. Back when the conference was smaller, it really didn't have as much impact. But as that conference became bigger, here's the performance of the healthcare sector during that conference. It's definitely something you can't miss if you know about what they do and what they talk about there. If we go down into the individual industries inside of healthcare, remember it goes the sector, or the index, which could be like the S&P 500. Then it goes down to the sector, which would be healthcare. Then from there, you can go even further and go into industries. So if we go into the industries here, we broke it down to show you what are the best performing industries inside of healthcare. Life sciences, tools and services, these would be things like Baxter and West Pharmaceuticals, things like that. That's your best performing area. Average gain, 2.77%. Median gain, 2.3, by far the best performer there. Healthcare technologies, this would be like Boston Scientific, Algin. Algin is... think of Invisalign. That's what they do. So also the second best performer in there gives you an idea of which ones are the standouts during that conference. In other words, which ones get a lot of attention, which ones investors tend to focus on. So we wanted to point that out, that maybe that's something you want to take a look at during the conference here. I don't know. It's up to you, you know. Let's take a look at the other sectors here because there's some interesting things going on. You've got energy continuing to kill it. Look, energy just year to date now, 15%. That's incredible. We got a research post coming up on the energy sector, talking about some of this early year, really strong performance. But if you look through today, ExxonMobil and Chevron going to be the biggest contributors on the day. Every single stock was positive. You got a lot of big gainers in there going into the refiners, going into those oil service stocks and things like that. Did really well. Look at some of the gains here. Occidental Petroleum, 12%. We happen to own it, so we're excited about that. We have warrants on this one, by the way, as well. And I don't know if you happen to notice where Occidental Petroleum is and is headed, but we're not there yet. But we're working our way towards those warrants. So maybe a big thank you to Occidental Petroleum for giving us those warrants. By the way, I should say, they didn't give them to Jazz. It's not like we're special. Any holder of that stock was given those warrants. So up to you what you want to do with them there. Let's go over to some of the other sectors here because you had 5 different sectors gain 1% or more. If we look at consumer discretionary stocks today, you can very quickly put the mic back on. Yeah, I guess it crashed. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened. I'm going to go back over to the sector breakdown here because all is... What? It's coming. Yeah. So it's working good. Let's go to the sector page, load that back up, and here we go. So consumer discretionary, you got names like Tesla carrying all the weight. That's basically what's going on there. So if I pop over here real quick, you got Tesla over the last 6 months there. Obviously, you know it's just killing it. It's what can you say? But Home Depot waking up. These are the interesting ones. Home Depot and Lowe's. They've been quiet for a while. They've been pulling back ever so slightly. So if you've had your Home Depot and Lowe's and you go, I want to buy the dip, you may have missed your chance there, right? Starting to move back up, especially Home Depot. It's been a lagger. There continues to be this disconnect between Home Depot and Lowe's. Lowe's is outperforming Home Depot. That's not normal if you take a look at the historic performance there. Also, you got financials in the mix as far as being one of the better performers today. That's going to be a lot of Goldman Sachs. I bet you if we go in here and look at the biggest contributors today, look at them. You got the big banks. These guys are leading the way ahead of earnings. So you got a bit of a rally going into what is going to be known as a pretty volatile time for banks at the end of this week, going into next week as well. So just wanted to point that out. Well, let's go to our watch list here for the day. We'll have to pop that sucker back up. Here's what I want to do. We talked about the healthcare conference, JP Morgan Healthcare Conference. So what I thought I'd do is I'd look at the S&P 500 and go through to find the interesting patterns, right? What's going on with these stocks? But more importantly, like I said, we're going to make this more of a lesson type of a show. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of these as well. So let's get started. In no particular order, though it seems they're in alphabetical order. Maybe they were. A Biomed. So there's a technical pattern here, just a base at highs, will not pull back, refuses to pull back, holding at these highs. You got to break to new highs. A little bit of a pricey stock, but a break to new highs would be a technical pattern that would attract more volume, more interest, more buying in there. So something to consider there. You got Amgen breaking its way out of this downtrend. We drew this downtrend, that was a while ago, right? As soon as it breaks through, look at all the volume. Look at all that action on the day it breaks that trend. So we know that this stock is responding to technical patterns. You don't have to believe that they work or think it's some kind of witchcraft or whatever. You just want to know that other people believe that it works. That's the whole thing behind technical patterns. Don't go making up technical patterns of your own. You want to make sure other people recognize those patterns. So clearly that's going on here, breaking out of the downtrend. A little pullback might be interesting for Amgen. If you look at Baxter, same thing, coming out of this downtrend, not quite the strongest of higher lows. If you're one of those that follows these, you got just that one higher low, back above the 20 period moving average. These guys, I don't normally talk about some of these, but they spun off their biotech division last year or the year before, so I can come back and sort of talk about this here. These guys make dialysis equipment, by the way, infusion pumps, other renal type products, and so something I'm very familiar with. The company themselves generates about 32% of their revenue from their renal products, right? So very interesting there. Peritoneal dialysis, hemodialysis, things like that. They have all kinds of cool things. We don't need, you get the point, right? They have single-use dialysis. They've got even remote dialysis things for patients there. They're mostly generating revenue in this category overseas, in Europe, in Asia, and things like that. So it's not something you hear a lot about here. But that renal care segment, which is about a third of their overall revenues, about to hit $1 billion. We were at like 930 million, somewhere in there. It's growing like hotcakes there. It's up about 4% quarter over quarter. So if just to have a little bit more growth, you got $1 billion segment, you know they're going to put some emphasis on that to continue growing that segment, because some of the other segments are a little bit lower. So I have a feeling, although I don't know the current news of the company, what they're doing, I'll bet you that's what's going on. That's what people are making those bets on. Going over to Quest Diagnostics, you probably know who they are. If you're anywhere down here in the South, you've seen them there. It's a lab, essentially LabCorp's competition. But what they've got here is an interesting technical pattern, basing at highs, although it's kind of sloppy. I'll agree with you there. The company is getting more interest because I think 2 or 3 years ago, I might have mentioned on the show, but 2 or 3 years ago, they said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to start focusing on developing better relationships with hospitals. We're going to just start going to these hospitals, trying to get some deals, some contracts in place so that we can work directly with them. That's actually gone really well. And they're actually on United Healthcare's member network now. So a lot of that guaranteed contractual kind of dollars coming in for them has been helpful. Naturally, you can understand why this is sitting at highs. All right, Gilead Sciences here. You may know them as remdesivir, right? Because of what's been going on in the news with the virus and everything. They got emergency use authorization. The FDA granted full use for the treatment of COVID-19, all that great stuff. And so it's been coming off these lows after making new 52-week lows, nonstop. This is a tough one to invest in because you're picking on a weak stock and you're hoping that it starts to get strong there. They're the most dominant player in the HIV space. That's really what they're known for on a day-to-day basis, and some of that's going really, really well there. Problem is, you've seen pressure on this stock mainly because of debt. They've got a lot more debt than some of their competitors out there, and so when people look at those, they go, okay, all the action, all the headlines are over here. I got Gilead over here making new lows. They're, remdesivir, it got some pluses and minuses there. Obviously, it's a use, but other than that, it's not a big part of their business. So we're really focused on the HIV segment, which I hear is going well. All right, ResMed. When you think of ResMed, well, first let's do the technical pattern. So obviously basing at highs, starting to wake up, volume starting to increase a little bit. When you think of this stock, RMD is a ticker symbol, ResMed is their name. Think sleep apnea. Anything that goes with sleep apnea. Could be the mask. It could be the generators, could be the things that go along with that. That's what their specialty is. So it's not a drug company or anything. These guys are focused on that. I like the technical pattern. Obviously, it looks good. You got a lot of good things going on there. Walgreens is kind of a contrarian play, if you will. Very extended in the short term. I mean, it's the largest pharmacy out there. They're actually, fun fact, they're the largest purchaser of prescription drugs in the world, Walgreens. So kind of interesting there. They did a reverse merger 2016 or 17 or something to get them out of the U.S. Remember when that was popular? So they did all that. It's currently just riding its earnings wave. Had good earnings there, but really extended in the short term. So this is one, yeah, you might wait for a little bit of a pullback if you could afford to wait for a pullback. And that's what I have. I think that was all of them, right? Did we cover all of them? ResMed, Walgreens, there you go. So hopefully you learned a little bit about some of the healthcare stocks, the reason why they're in the news, and the reason why some of these stocks are performing better than others there. Let's go to stocks in the news. We'll have to put that sucker back up since we crashed. And just a couple. Go ahead, feel free to ask your questions. I will take questions here when we're done. I'll just start with a few of them here. Walmart, we talked about this yesterday. They're calling it a fintech company. They're really trying to offer checking, savings, money market accounts to the underbanked. Is that what they call it? The underbanked there. So partnered with another company to get that done. Zoom, nice little reversal here, 5.6% higher on the day. They are going to sell off $1.5 billion in shares, raising money when they can, not when they have to. By the way, the price is going to be over 10 times their IPO price. So you got a company, you gone public, like Tesla, right? Things are going well. Why not sell some shares when you can sell them at much higher prices to raise some more money? So that's what they're working on there. Las Vegas Sands, sadly, they lost their CEO. Very interesting character there, and he passed away, so it didn't really affect the stock today, but that was headline news there. If we look at Boston Scientific here, they told Wall Street that their fourth quarter sales are going to come in less than expected. Remember, it's that time of year where before earnings come out, sometimes companies will give you a heads up. It's been mostly positive so far this quarter, not for Boston Scientific. And General Electric in the news. They are working hard on their electronic vehicles there, electric vehicles, and apparently they have like a flying van. They're going to be working with FedEx for a new pallet type system, which is a delivery vehicle that they're working on. It's got a range of like 250 miles, and so it's pretty interesting there if you like that sort of thing, and that's why General Electric has done so well. General Motors has done so well in the short term there, so yeah, that's it. I'll take your questions if you have any. We'll see what we can do for you. Dividends, you got IEX 50 cents. That's pretty much it. Accenture 88 cents. And a lot of Fed members speaking tomorrow. Tomorrow's the beige book. And so not really a market mover unless there's something really odd in there. But we'll see what happens and we'll cover it for you. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Did I just see a stat? Hold on. I got to go back to that. Healthcare ETF's been positive in January, 9 of the last 10 years. You think it's good to hold on to it till the end of January. I love it, man. I love those stats. Yes, of course. Oh man, that's awesome. I saw Bitcoin tried to make a recovery today too. Yeah, 3%, 1,100, up 1,100 points. That's interesting. Yep. Oh yeah. Well, I might have missed some questions there because this thing is flying off the thing there. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. How do you feel about General Motors competing with Tesla? It sounds like they want to be a major player in the space. Yeah, finally, a lot of these companies are forced to take that seriously. Remember when a lot of these car companies, Ford included, were like, what is an electric car? Nobody wants to drive a golf cart. Now they have to, right? There's a lot of pressure from shareholders. So I like it. I like competition. I think it's fair. I like to see that. Obviously gives us more products and things that we can, as a consumer, we can play with. So I'm happy with that. We'll see how they do. Mm-hmm. Best day to deposit Friday or Monday if customers make automatic deposits on Monday. Will the funds be put in the folios Monday, or does that happen on Tuesday? It depends on the bank. So some banks are really quick. You have to watch it because when you make the request, all we do is when you put it in your account here, the day that hits, we send the request to the bank. And sometimes the bank sends it back right away. Sometimes it'll take them the rest of the day or even the next day before they send the money over. So it really depends on the bank. If it's instantaneous, it could be included later that day, but probably not. It's more than likely going to be included on Tuesday. Yep. What do you think the chances are the new Fed with Biden decides to raise rates this year? They won't. They've already said no issue or no reason to do that, and they definitely do not want to. Subject to change, right? They say that now, But if things got out of control, you know they'd be there to act. But as of now, they have verbally expressed no interest in raising rates this year. I like it. You want to drive a golf cart since you were 5? Hey, come on by the studio, man. We got the Dojo cart here. It's a blast to drive, I'll tell you that. That thing is impressive. I've never driven a Tesla, but it gives you a little respect for the type of power those batteries have. Yep. Is the heat chart for earnings available in the Dojo? The heat chart. Oh, the chart that I shared? No, it's not in there. You could take a screenshot if you want. We'll go like this for you. Maybe that helps. Yeah, try that. I'll leave it up for a second. Yep. I love it. Kathy Wood says the Fed will have to raise rates, else inflation will shoot up big time. Your thoughts? No, I don't think it'll shoot up big time. I think inflation is going to be higher. Look at the last time we added this much money to the U.S. money supply. You did get an uptick in inflation. The Fed wants that, though. We're hovering under 2%. They haven't been able to peg it at 2% for years. They've been trying to do this for years. So this could be just the recipe they're looking for there. Where's the balance, though, between watching inflation go up and then them trying to keep a cap on it? That's a tough one. I'm glad I don't have to make that decision. I don't know. Last couple of days, future were deep red. When the markets opened, they got bought right up. That's true. You look at them at night. Dow was down 200 points the other night, and I'm like, oh great, here we go, a little pullback, and people bought the dip. What? What's going on there? Plug Power got an investment of $1.5 billion the other day, and so it's kind of riding that wave here in the short term. Yeah, you're right, Doc. The Fed has expressed that they would actually like inflation just over 2%, and they can't get it there. So that make you worry a little bit, though. What happens if it goes 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5? If they can't get it to 2, how are they going to stop it at 3? That's a little bit of a tough one. Let's save that for the economists. I love it. All right, I'll wrap it up there. Remember, tomorrow we're going to start with the Q&A. So bring your questions early in the show there. We'll get started on everything, and we will continue to teach, share ideas and research and all the great stats like that. You enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. If you'll hit the subscribe button, that may help us out because I think we're almost to 100,000 or somewhere around there. And so that's like a milestone.